money kept on your bank account can easily be taxed by a tax authority. There is a precedence on this. A company called Kirin Pipes in Kenya, injected 29.4 million Kenya shillings as extra capital. They also went ahead and borrowed the 31.6 million shillings and deposited it on the account. Somebody would say, well, we have added 29.4 million as additional capital there and evidence that it's on the bank account. My brother, that's not enough. Because the only way you can prove that this money on the account is part of capital is, number one, had it been in Uganda, there ought to be a board resolution deciding that, we have resolved to borrow this amount of money. Number two, there ought to be payment of stamp duty on that money and increment of share capital registered with the Register of Companies. This company also went ahead to say that they borrowed 31.6 million, but there was no loan agreement. There was equally no board resolution that the company has agreed to borrow money. And there was no evidence of payback. Even if the payback period was to be open and long, there ought to have been an agreement, and this should have been mentioned in a board resolution registered with the Register of Companies of Kenya. This did not happen. And as a result, the case between the Kenya Revenue Authority and Kirin Pipes was settled in the favor of Kenya Revenue Authority. And the argument of the ruling is that there was no evidence to prove that the 29.4 million was actually additional capital. Neither was there any evidence, documentary evidence, to prove that the 31.6 million was actually borrowed money. Yet these are true. It is true capital was rejected. It is true money was borrowed. But what am I trying to share with you? There ought to be documentation. Gone are the days where you can do business informally. Documents are what speak in court. Even if the judge knew that the 29.4 million was actually additional capital, there is no way he would help this company because there was no company resolution to that effect. Here is my nugget. The moment you incorporate a company, please know that you're under the Companies Act of that country. In Uganda, we have one. You're under the VAT Act. You're under the Income Tax Act. You're under the Tax Procedure Code Act. You're under the Stamp Duty Act, and many others. All these apply to you as a company. And therefore, everything you do, always remember documentation.